right, here we go. We are live right now on the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there are having a phenomenal Tuesday. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day, as there is so much to talk about with San Francisco set to officially report the training camp a week from today. Rookies and quarterbacks already set to report today at the SAP Performance Center in Santa Clara, and it only means that we're about to talk about some Niners football in about 7 days. So if you're pumped up for the return of the San Francisco 49ers, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Who isn't excited to talk about this team with how stacked this roster is, the potential that they have, all of the storylines? And I had a couple of people reach out to me saying that it's been the most difficult time that they've ever experienced or encountered in trying to find Niners training camp tickets. So the hype for this team heading into 2023 is certainly real, and that's good news, obviously, for us on the channel because there's so much to discuss. And there's a lot to talk about on the program today. We'll talk some Niners training camp. Always down to take your questions as well. Use the hashtag 49ers, better yet, Super Chat. We'll give you the latest on Trey Lance here in just a few moments. I'm going to grade every single Niner who is going into year one with them reporting today. The Rams could be trading Aaron Donald. A little bit of a loose rumor out there. We're going to unpack all of this. And I put up a show a little bit earlier. Producer Jack, who's my right-hand man today because Trizzy Trace is on vacation in Mexico. We put out this show talking about all of the latest buzz around Lance heading into training camp. His quarterback coach, who's his private coach, Jeff Christensen, said he is going to be a different player in training camp going into year three. Check out that video, obviously, after you're done watching our live show. Gump Wolf, $50 Super Chat. Hello, faithful. I'm back. Let's have a great show. Chase, you are the man. You know, I grew up watching Philadelphia Phillies games, and they had this really famous broadcaster, Harry Callis. And Harry Callis said the same thing, except it was Chase Utley. Chase Utley, you are the man. Instead, it's Gump Wolf saying, Chase Sr., you are the man. My guy, I appreciate you. And with that, here is our Super Chat menu. $5 for a Niner mug cheers. Cheers, all my faithful homies. $10 we will spin the wheel. $20 we'll take a shot. $50 for a beer bong. $100 for a shotgun or a funnel. And with Gump Wolf, a.k.a. Allen, sending in the 50, we have to get this underway, ladies and gentlemen. We have to fill up the beer bong here. Got a little Happy Dad in the cup. And Gump Wolf, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, my guy. You're an absolute legend. So if you want to donate to the show like our guy Gump Wolf, you can do that right now. Let's get to the latest here on Trey Lance. He's been working out with his private quarterbacks coach throughout this offseason. It's the first time that he's worked with Jeff Christensen, who is also Patrick Mahomes' throwing coach. And Christensen said that with training camp set to begin and quarterbacks reporting today alongside all those rookies, that Trey Lance is going to be a different player. Now, Matt Barrows of The Athletic had outlined Christensen's work with Trey Lance back a couple of months ago. And here was a snippet of that article because this goes to show you some of the changes that maybe Lance will display throughout training camp and the preseason. The issue with Lance's throwing motion, they were initially substantial, said The Athletic. Christensen said it usually takes him a day to diagnose what's wrong with the quarterback's delivery. With Lance, it took 4 days, but once he figured out the root cause, there was steady progress. Lance's accuracy improved, the spin on the ball increased, and the delivery time became shorter. This is what I think Trey Lance needs to do to become more successful, to earn playing time this year or earn a starting role either with the Niners or a different team. First and foremost, he obviously has to stay healthy. Through 2 years, had the knee injury, the finger issue, and then the broken ankle last year. He has to clean up his motion, and hopefully Jeff Christensen was able to do that with Lance to help that accuracy a little bit. I think that the mechanics, the arm motion, it's been way too slow and loopy, and why that's a little bit of a problem, we saw Tim Tebow run into this. It allows the pass rush to get more time to get pressure on the quarterback, to come up with the strip sack, to come up with the sack, and it's just not ideal given how fast the NFL game is played. Lance's accuracy has been the biggest thing that's been holding him back, just hasn't been able to complete passes at a steady rate, and Lance needs to show that he can consistently complete layup throws. Hitting the home run ball is great. Taking the top off of the defense is absolutely phenomenal, but if you can't throw a simple ball into the flat, or you can't complete that simple out route, you're not going to be a successful quarterback in this league. And then lastly, can Trey Lance put it all together and display the potential that the Niners saw in him to move up to number 3 to take him in 2021? He's 6'4", 225, really strong arm, solid athleticism. I think he has a good pocket feel, good pocket mobility. He just has not played a lot of football. And if he does all of these things on your screen, he's going to have an opportunity to do what he hasn't been able to do, and that's get consistent reps, because up to this point, that lack of experience has certainly cost him. So with that, let's ask you this. Let's get the comment section going before we start the official show. Who has the higher ceiling between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy? TL for Lance, BP for Purdy. Let us know. We'll start to give you some shout-outs here in the chat. FBI saying, Chase has such a good radio voice. Thank you so much. We're not worthy. Lance is a bust, FBI also said, and even Trey knows it. Look, I don't think that you can say that because Lance has started 4 games in his career, and he's started 21 combined games going back to 2019. Harold saying hello, everyone. Dwayne Purdy, King Malibu Purdy, Just Blaze Purdy, Lure Purdy, Francisco, he should be calm. Harold saying 49ers worldwide. Treeman, Brock Purdy, Terrell, Brock Purdy, Try and Ryan. Yo, Chase, my peeps don't believe you. Shout out your boys on here. Try and Ryan, my boy, make the fellas believe you. So we showed you our Super Chat menu a little bit earlier. If you want me to do the Super Chat Gauntlet, this is an idea that was proposed to me the other day. I'll do it for a $200 Super Chat. What this means is I do everything on the Super Chat menu one step at a time. I'll do it for a $200 Super Chat. So all at once, right? Niner mug cheers, then we spin the wheel, then we take a shot, then we do a beer bong, then I do a shotgun and a freedom funnel. That is the Super Chat Gauntlet. If you want me to do all that, $200 donation. I also want to give a shout out to Night Shift Garage. He sent us in a super thanks recently, just saying thank you for all the content on one of our videos that we put up on the channel. A super thanks is different than a super chat, but it basically works the same. You watch one of the videos that we put up on the channel during one of our non-live shows. It's the heart icon with the $ through it. Night Shift Garage sent us in a $100 super thanks. So at some point on today's show, I'm going to have to do a shotgun for Night Shift Garage because I make the rules and I stand by those rules. If you're ready to start the show, make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Rick Nyer. So is that $200 total or $200 with one super chat? That is a solo $200 super chat. So the gauntlet is a $200 super chat. I will do all of that. And if you think about it, it's pretty good value because I said 100 for a shotgun, 50 for a beer bong. That's 150 right there. I'll do all of it. Run down the gauntlet for $200. Something new that I'm bringing to the show to spice up what has been the very slow portion of the offseason. But with the Niners set to report the training camp here in 7 days, things are really about to pick up. Shout out to Paul Yang, Big Hurt, Fluffy Ninja, King Malibu, Try and Ryan, Dave Towers, Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Was just with my Melbourne cousins a couple of weeks ago in Pennsylvania. I was thinking about you and the sun, Dave. Rick Nyers, T-Max, Anthony Pastel, all in the chat right now. Gump Wolf getting us started with that $50 donation, and the official show is about to get underway right now. We have the best Niners talk that is coming your way, so hang out, kick back, relax, and let's talk some San Francisco 49ers football right now. Welcome into the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, training camp is right around the corner. Rookies and quarterbacks already reported on July 18th, and veterans will report on July 25th. So coming up on today's show, I am going to rank and go through every single rookie on this Niners roster that will be hitting the practice field with an opportunity to crack the 53. That's all coming up on the show. We're going to look at the 2023 draft class as well as all of these UDFAs, and it starts right now. So 18 rookies as of right now, according to the 49ers website, will be partaking in Niners training camp. And like I said, they already reported here on July 18th. Kalon Laybourne is a running back that I want to begin with here, and I'm ranking all of these players from worst to best. Kalon, really good season last year at Marshall. He was able to tally 302 carries for 1,513 yards and 6 touchdowns. A reason why he checks in all the way at the bottom, the Niners backfield is in a really good spot. I think Christian McCaffrey has an opportunity here to accumulate 2,000 all-purpose yards. If Elijah Mitchell is healthy, he can be one of the best number 2 backs in the NFL. I continue to be bullish and extremely high on Jordan Mason. And then you have Kyle Juszczyk, who's a do-it-all guy who can carry the football, catch passes, but is also that lead blocker out of the backfield and a staple in this Niners offense. Coming in at number 17, I don't think that Jack Coletto out of Oregon State is going to replace Kyle Juszczyk anytime soon. Juszczyk landed a couple of years ago the highest contract in the history of the NFL for a fullback, and his imprint, his impact on this offense can be felt week in and week out. Unless an injury happens, Coletto is going to get let go at some point. Now, at Oregon State, he was a very productive player who had a similar impact to what Juice is able to give this Niners team. 110 carries, 401 yards, 22 touchdowns throughout his career. So once Oregon State got inside the 5-yard line, a very impactful player. Ronald Awatt, the running back here. Another running back deep on this list because same could be said for Laybourne here. He's just not going to have an opportunity to crack this squad unless he just blows everybody away, combined with injuries happening. 2022 at UTEP, 163 carries for 734 yards for him. And I think that this Niners team is in a good spot here going into 2023. We know that Kyle Shanahan with this outside zone scheme, running the football is going to be a staple of it. There are question marks and there's uncertainty at that quarterback position. So I believe that early in the season, especially if Brock Purdy is playing or if the inexperienced Trey Lance is at the helm at quarterback, Kyle Shanahan's going to want to establish the run to take the pressure off of those quarterbacks, but for Brock Purdy to keep him healthy. At number 15, Corey Luciano, offensive lineman here. Offensive line is certainly in a predicament going into 2023 because I don't believe that they had the necessary depth along that group, and especially at right tackle. Now, Corey Luciano, in his career at Washington, did play in 35 games, 13 starts, undrafted free agent for San Francisco. Let's go to number 14 as we refresh this list here as we continue to progress. Ilm Manning, another offensive lineman. So you have John Feliciano as a pretty good backup who can play center, guard. We're going to talk about Joey Fisher. There are a couple of other depth pieces along this offensive line. I still can't believe that San Francisco did not address right tackle. They're moving forward with Colton McKivitz. Ilm Manning does have a lot of experience. So if he were to surprise a lot of people throughout training camp and in the preseason, he would do so relying on all of the experience that he's been able to accumulate, 62 games and 60 starts. Can you imagine what it would be like to go to college in Hawaii, I would get in way too much trouble because you know how I roll on the San Francisco 49ers report. If you're pumped up for Niners training camp just a couple of days away, type bang bang Niner gang down in the chat right now. At number 13, Isaiah Winstead. You remember his story, right? Undrafted free agent. He put out a video on Twitter of him in practice just burning DBs, catching some 50-50 balls, moving very well in the open field. He was asking for an opportunity to crack an NFL roster. And the 49ers, after looking at that tape and the production that he had last year at ECU, 88 catches, more than 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was an All-American Athletic Conference player. They decided to give him that opportunity because they thought that, okay, you've asked for it. You're trying to earn it. We'll see if you can earn it. Pretty cool story with that video taking off on social media. I mean, it got millions and millions of views on Twitter. We'll see what he's able to do. And if he can crack this squad, even the practice squad would be an accomplishment for him. Popular player among these UDFAs, as we haven't talked yet about a player who the Niners drafted in 2023, is Joey Fisher. Interesting story with him. He played at Division II Shepherd. That is a small school in West Virginia, and they play in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Westchester University, one of the powers in that conference. I actually am from Westchester, so I'm very familiar with the PSAC, as it's otherwise known. 43 games. He was a D2 All-American last year. Played a lot of offensive tackle. The Niners are going to slot him inside to play at guard because of the uptick in competition. He played and helped block for an offense last year that averaged nearly 500 total yards. Deshaun Jameson. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to do. He played his college football at Texas. And the 49ers tweeted out a video several months ago after 49ers OTAs about some of the highlights that some of these players were able to put forward throughout OTAs. Deshaun Jameson was all around the field. He's a little bit shorter at 5'9", but at Texas, a very productive player. 23 pass breakups in 60 games, a reason why he might be able to make this team. He has experience as a kick and punt returner, and right now it's Ray McCloud, who is one of the best kick and punt returners in the NFL. If he were to get hurt, or if he's able to show some special teams ability outside of returning in Jameson, he can make this team. But San Francisco has done a great job of developing late round and undrafted defensive backs. And Jameson has really good instincts playing that position. Name to keep an eye out for as the preseason gets underway here in a few weeks. Which rookie are you most excited about for San Francisco going into this upcoming season? Just drop me a name down below in the comment section. And if you're looking to get geared up for this year, Christian McCaffrey jerseys are available at chatsports.com/CMC. The Niners offense, after that trade acquisition of McCaffrey last year, averaged more than 30 points per game. He's a friend of the show. We got to interview him during Super Bowl week on Radio Row. And I think that he's in store to have a tremendous season if he's able to stay healthy. If you're looking for a fantasy option, fantastic. If you're looking for a jersey, yeah, you can get it right now. Also, if you use that link, there are other jerseys for the Niners that you can also get to get geared up for this year. At number 10, as we pivot inside the top 10 here as we're grading all of these rookies here, Jalen Graham, the linebacker, also a draftee for San Francisco in this 2023 draft class. Jalen Graham and D. Winters are two players after you lost Azeez Al-Shire in NFL free agency that could have an opportunity outside of Marcelino McCrary-Ball to maybe be that third linebacker, although for a rookie linebacker on one of the NFL's best defenses to get a lot of playing time could be an uphill battle. Graham was a 7th-round pick out of Purdue, a lot of experience playing in the Big Ten, 169 tackles, 16 pass breakups, 12.5 tackles for loss in 38 games while playing for the Boilermakers. I think that him and I really think that D. Winters and Jalen Graham, they have good diagnosing skills on the defensive side of the football. And the Niners scouting department certainly saw that in the pre-draft process. And that's why they like both of these players. They also understood that you needed to replenish that position just a little bit from a financial resource standpoint, but also an age standpoint. You lose Azeez Al-Shire. He gets solid money in free agency as he teams back up with Rand Carthen, who was in this front office, now the general manager for the Tennessee Titans. He deserved to get that payday, and I'm happy that he was able to get paid because he played good ball for this team. But in replenishing that position, Jalen Graham going to have a decent opportunity here. Let's now go to number 9, Spencer Waege, the defensive lineman out of North Dakota State. This is a guy who also, throughout rookie minicamp and OTAs, was really turning heads. 57 games with the Bison, 29 starts. So he's obviously been able to play a lot. A little bit of a late bloomer, getting those starts later in his career. The numbers very, very solid. 138 tackles, 42 tackles for loss, 20.5 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles. This is a player who has really good instincts, and he's going to be under the tutelage of Chris Kocurek, who I think is the best defensive line coach in the NFL. He has done wonders for so many players along that defensive line, turning them into really good players. If I could put my money on one UDFA to potentially crack this 53-man roster, it might be Spencer Waege. Number 8, D. Winters, the other linebacker who the 49ers drafted. So Jalen Graham, D. Winters, as I talked about a little bit earlier. Jalen Graham went to Purdue. D. Winters went to TCU. D. Winters selected in the 6th round. This guy can hit the hole very, very quickly on the defensive side of the ball. Pause. And in 2022, for a TCU team that ended up making it to the national championship game before getting stomped by Georgia, he had those early diagnosing skills that allowed him to play like a wrecking ball. And when he sees an opening in that offensive line, boom, he hits it. 15 games, 79 tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. Well-rounded numbers that were tremendous for him last year. Ronnie Bell, going to come in at number 7 here. I think that he is your future Jawan Jennings player. Jawan Jennings, after this year, as he's on that restricted free agent tag type deal, Jawan Jennings is going to be able to sign a nice little contract after 2023 with the wide receiver needy team because he's been a security blanket type of guy for San Francisco. He's come up in the clutch, made a lot of big plays. Ronnie Bell, similar type of player where you look at him and you look at Jawan Jennings and the body type that they have. They don't impress you or overwhelm you by any means. Good ball skills, good hands, timely plays, and Ronnie Bell also has the production, just like Jawan Jennings had at Tennessee. For Ronnie Bell, last year, 14 games, 62 catches, 889 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I like the contested catch ability as well. He can go up and get it, and sometimes you need to win those 50-50 balls at the NFL level if you don't have the speed to get open. That fits the bill for Ronnie Bell. Braden Willis, the tight end who the Niners also drafted, going to come in at number 6 here for me on my rookie rankings list. Last year, among all tight ends in college football, he actually led the nation in yards picked up after contact. He, too, a 7th-round pick and a guy who can play special teams. John Lynch raved about his versatility. He can also play a little fullback. So if you're looking for him in that H-back role, he could fulfill that as well. 39 catches, 514 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year for the Sooners. If you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me on both social media platforms at Chase_Senior. I'm on Threads too, but I think that platform is tanking because Twitter's just a little bit too large and powerful. But if you want to find me there, you can give me a shout on Threads as well. Jake Moody, as we enter our top 5, you have to put the kicker at some point, right? And Jake Moody was a 3rd-round pick. So the Niners are hoping that he's going to be able to have an impact this year. They didn't bring back Robbie Gould, even though Robbie Gould said this past week that he was open to returning to San Francisco. Niners didn't even reach out to him and his representation. Jake Moody has a big leg and a pretty clutch kicker. 69 of 84 throughout his career at Michigan. 82%, not great by any means. Although he did connect on all of his point-after attempts. 148 of 148 throughout his career, and also tallied a Michigan record 4 kicks of 50-plus yards, including a deep one in the college football semifinal against the aforementioned TCU Horned Frogs. Cameron Latou, number 4. I think that Cameron Latou and Braden Willis have an opportunity to unseat Ross Dwelley and Charlie Warner as the backups to George Kittle. And I think that the San Francisco 49ers had this in mind when they drafted both of these players. Latou is a very intriguing athlete. He didn't run a crazy time in the 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process, but then he was clocked after that and has this really sneaky speed, 56 catches, catching the rock from Bryce Young last year, 787 yards and 12 touchdowns, good red zone threat, has sneaky getaway speed, and a player who can make something happen with the ball in his hands after the catch and after contact. I'm pretty high here on Robert Beal Jr., who was selected by the Niners out of Georgia. That Georgia defensive line, stupid talent. The entire defense really had overwhelming talent. And that's why a guy like Robert Beal was somewhat overshadowed. Throughout his career with the Bulldogs, 54 games, 72 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks. By no means did he have crazy production, but I think a player like this with pedigree, with speed, with bend to get around the edge, could be one of those players that Chris Kocurek brings the best out of and maximizes over time. Darrell Luter Jr., I think that he could get some time in year one. 5th-round pick out of South Alabama. Just like Samuel Womack 2 drafts ago, I said the same thing about Luter. They have an ability to make plays on the football. And having those instincts, how many times do you see a cornerback at moments just get lost in translation when the ball is in the air? Doesn't happen with Womack, doesn't happen with Darrell Luter Jr. Even though he went to South Alabama, even though he was a 5th-round pick, this guy can play. 36 games, 16 pass breakups, 5 interceptions. Started off the JUCO route, so he's a little bit gritty, and I think Niner fans will really like his toughness. And then at number 1, it's the player who I had in my mock drafts in the pre-draft process. It's the player who I asked San Francisco to take, Jair Brown, the safety out of Penn State. He can really play all around the field. He, like Darrell Luter Jr., started his college career the JUCO route at Lackawanna College, which is a JUCO power in northeastern Pennsylvania, just outside of Scranton. And in his 3 years, for a pro-style defense, he was able to put up numbers that were really wide variety, right? 153 tackles, 19 pass breakups, 10 interceptions, 9 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. He can play both safety positions. I think that he could take over for Tashaun Gipson as Gipson slides into that leadership veteran role for the second consecutive year like he did last year for Talanoa Hufanga. And I think that Jair Brown at some point this year could start alongside Hufanga, who was an all-pro last year. You can play him along that line of scrimmage, in the box, in the slot. He can play deep safety. He can also come up. He is a player, again, with great instincts. And I think sometimes people make too much out of the athlete that some of these prospects are. San Francisco, on the other hand, does a great job of identifying guys who make instinctual plays, who can read and diagnose things before they happen, because when the game happens and live bullets start to fly, sometimes that is what wins and not athleticism, being able to predict what happens from the opposing offense or the opposing defense if you're on the other side of the ball. So the most impactful rookie will be who? We just ranked all the rookies, top to bottom, all 18 of them who are going to be partaking in Niners training camp. Let me know right now. All right, so a fun segment right there. Ranking all the rookies. Fluffy Ninja, is Trey Lance a bust? Too early to say. Fawdy Cal, Skittles, Terrell Johnson, Bang Bang Niner Gang, Aaron Magana, Niners for Life, Harold, Red and Gold for Life, 49ers. Before we get to our second segment, let's take a look at our Super Chat menu here. We had Gump Wolf, who got us started with the $50 donation, so I already did the beer bong. $5, Niner mug cheers. $10, we'll spin the wheel. $20, we'll take the shot. $50 for a beer bong. $100, shotgun or a freedom funnel. I also said, if you want me to do the gauntlet, the Super Chat menu gauntlet, I will do all of these things here for a $200 Super Chat. That could get a little bit wild, but it could be a lot of fun. So you see the information. The Super Chat gauntlet. This is an idea that we came up with yesterday thanks to Ninja, right? Or no, Mojo yesterday on one of our live shows on 76ers Now. He's like, how about the Super Chat Gauntlet? I'm like, you know what, Mojo, I'm going to implement that. So for a $200 Super Chat, I will do everything on the Super Chat menu simultaneously. Also want to give a shout out to Night Shift Garage. He sent us in a $100 super thanks the other week. So at the end of the show, I'm going to have to shotgun a beer thanks to our guy, Night Shift Garage. All right, coming up next for segment number 2, live on the San Francisco 49ers Report, ESPN really likes this Niners roster. So too to other players, execs, and coaches across the NFL, because we've been talking about these ESPN positional rankings. The 49ers had 8 players inside the top 10 of their respective positions, so we're going to talk about all those players here and the outlook for this Niners roster heading into 2023. So let's do it right now. Today's San Francisco 49ers Report is presented by Manscaped. For all my fellas out there, you can get 20% off and free shipping on the most elite men's grooming products at manscaped.com/49ers. Make sure you use the promo code 49ers for that deal to apply. We'll tell you more about Manscaped coming up here in just a few moments. As for what we're getting into on today's show, ESPN ranking the San Francisco 49ers roster heading into 2023. And they did these positional breakdowns where they ranked, thanks to NFL execs, coaches, players, scouts, all of the positions on the football field, all 11 of them. And they came up with the top 10 players at each position, and the 49ers very well represented. So here's that information. ESPN ranking the NFL's best players at every single position. They had all these execs, coaches, scouts, players as well, picking their top 10 at every single position. And the 49ers, ladies and gentlemen, had 8 top 10 players. That goes to show you just how stacked this team is heading into this upcoming season. And they're going stroke for stroke, par for par with another NFC rival in the Philadelphia Eagles in what has become a newfound rivalry in the National Football League. The 49ers and the Eagles both tied with 8 players inside the top 10 at those individual positions, followed by the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, with 6. Dallas Cowboys had 6, and the Buffalo Bills with 5. Let's first begin here with ESPN's edge rusher rankings. Look at who's at number 1. Nick Bosa, followed by Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Hassan Reddick, Max Crosby, Brian Burns, Matthew Judon, Von Miller, and Joey Bosa. I've continued to say that Nick Bosa is the best pure pass rusher in the National Football League. How could you not vote him first when he's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year and he's put together consecutive seasons in which in 2021 he had 15.5 sacks, which at the time was a career high, coming off that torn ACL in 2020. And then he duplicates that success and is even better in 2022 with 18.5 sacks, 48 quarterback hits, and the analytics back up the numbers, man. He was a truly special and impactful player who opposing offenses have to account for on every single snap. Nick Bosa analytics. He was the league's sack king last year with 18.5. He produced a 15.3 pressure rate on his pass rushes in 2022 per Next Gen Stats, and his 48 quarterback hits led the NFL by 12. A pretty large gap there. Before we continue to move forward on today's show, make sure you subscribe to the San Francisco 49ers Report. We are 330 people away from 82,000 subscribers. That means that we're going to inch closer and closer to getting that plaque from YouTube once we reach 100,000 subscribers. If you're in the market for daily and year-round Niners talk, this is your go-to spot. From edge rusher to off-ball linebackers, another Niners player coming in at the top of this list, and also Dre Greenlaw coming in at number 10. But let's talk first about Fred Warner. Last few years, he has been, I think, by a considerable margin, best off-ball linebacker in the NFL. Roquan Smith is a really good player, but Warner has played in many more big games, and in big moments he's shined. So Fred Warner at that top spot, Roquan Smith at number 2, Tremaine Edmonds of the Bills at number 3, Matt Milano, his teammate, at number 4, Devin White of the Bucs rounding out the top 5, followed by Demario Davis Shaq Leonard, Nick Bolton, who had that scoop and score against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, C.J. Mosley, and Dre Greenlaw. We're going to talk about both Niners here. First up, Fred Warner. Through 5 seasons, he is tied for first among linebackers in passes defended with 35, fourth in tackles with 633, and fifth in pass breakups with 37. An AFC scout on Fred Warner saying this: he's the perfect new age linebacker, great against the pass, but can handle himself against the run, a big athlete with plus leadership and communication. That leadership and communication, I think they have both been pillars for the Niners' success in making it to the NFC Championship game in 3 of the last 4 years, with that Super Bowl appearance last coming in 2019. I also think Fred Warner's availability has been great. He has missed a total of 1 game in his entire career. 2018, 2019, 2020, 16 games played. In 2021, he missed 1 game. And then in 2022, he played all 17. And you look at the numbers, he has been an outright tackling machine. He's so good against the pass. The play that he made down the seam against the Dallas Cowboys last year, breaking up that pass from Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb, going stride for stride with CD, was stupid. And he has the quarterback hits to his name as well. He is never going to tally large sack numbers because he's an off-ball linebacker. As for what an NFL exec said about Dre Greenlaw, he made a huge jump. Relentless, extremely physical, took a big jump in coverage last year, obviously benefits from the guys around him, but he made so many big plays last year. I feel like people didn't know who he was for a while, but he's a major player. He's also one of the most jacked linebackers in the NFL, and he's been somewhat undervalued and underrated over time. Now, the Arkansas product has missed a lot of time. As you can see, he only played in 3 games in 2021, missed a couple of games in 2020. 2019 did play all 16 games, and then last year played 15. And that was the year where he really made things happen. And for the Niners to lock him up on the contract that they did, they were able to get some great value on that deal for the player that he was last year, who, like Fred Warner, is really good against the pass, but is an also instinctual player. And San Francisco locked him up to that deal where in 2023, base salary of $4.1 million, dead cap of 1.4, a cap hit of 5.5. Last year, he played at a borderline all-pro level. So if you get an all-pro caliber player at $5.5 million, you'll take that any day. And then in 2024, base salary goes up to 8 with a cap hit of 9.6. Again, very well worth it if he's able to stay on the field. In 2023, who will have a better season between Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw? You see the options here. Get those options in the comment section. Now, a lot of you might not be familiar with Javon Hargrave, but he is the perfect addition to what the Niners like to do defensively and a much-needed addition to the 49ers defensive line because they needed to get Nick Bosa some help. He comes in at number 5 in ESPN's top defensive tackles. Aaron Donald, I didn't think he had a good year last year. I thought Chris Jones and Jeffrey Simmons were better. Quinnen Williams got paid by the New York Jets, an emerging young player. Hargrave got that 4-year deal worth more than $80 million from San Francisco. Dexter Lawrence got the bag from the New York Football Giants. DeForest Buckner, wish he was still with the Niners, coming in at number 7. Deron Payne, Cam Hayward, Jonathan Allen rounding out that list. And for Hargrave, this is a player who, yes, he's in his 30s, so there's a little bit of a risk, but he's a little bit of a late bloomer. Cool story for him. He went to an HBCU and goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, is able to make some things happen. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles on a large contract a few years ago, certainly made good on that deal, and didn't have a better season than 2022 when he had a career year. 11 sacks, top 5 among all defensive tackles, 57 pressures, 16 quarterback hits, 10 tackles for loss. He has really good leverage. He is not going to be great against the run. So that was an area of concern for San Francisco that reared its ugly head against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. He doesn't help you there, but he does help you get after the quarterback and takes the pressure off of Nick Bosa. NFL personnel director on Hargrave here, the newest Niner. He has natural leverage, quickness, and power. That combo makes it hard for offensive guards and centers to really have a chance because he can vary his rush toward their weaknesses. Hargrave ranked second among defensive tackles in pass rush win rate last year at 17.6, trailing Jones. He finished third in 2021. Hargrave was balling out. Hopefully he's going to continue to ball out for San Francisco. And if you want to clean up your balls, do so with Manscaped, the #1 leader in men's grooming products. Join the 8 million men who have purchased what they have to offer. And for the faithful, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/49ers, promo code 49ers. I'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. With Manscaped, cannonball! It's summertime, and it's not about the size of those cannonballs. It's about making a splash with our friends at Manscaped. Prep for barbecue season by making sure your grill master has the hottest dogs that the summer's ever seen. When you're at the cookout, let the meat speak for itself, if you know what I mean. With Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, it's time to get ready and not sweaty by heading to manscaped.com/49ers. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything that you need to guarantee you'll have the most mouth-watering treats at the party. They have built the ultimate bundle for your summer grooming. Lawnmower 4.0, safeguard technology so you won't get cut up down below the belt. They can even throw in 2 free gifts to the Performance Package 4.0, Manscaped boxer briefs, as well as their travel bag. Wearing sandals with some nasty toenails during the summer months, nah, that ain't it. So take a look at the Shears 2.0, a luxury nail grooming kit. And this kit includes stainless steel nail cutters, tweezers, and grooming scissors. As a treat, you should add in the crop mops to your order, a moist towelette made specifically for your beach balls. It's the best midday refresher to stop your popsicle from melting. So head to manscaped.com/49ers, promo code 49ers. To safety now. I told you the Niners very well represented across the NFL for the top players at all of these positions. Talanoa Hufanga at number 9, Micah Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Justin Simmons, Budda Baker, Javon Holland, player who I really like, Jesse Bates, Kevin Byard, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Hufanga there, and then Antoine Winfield. First team All-Pro last year for the Polynesian sensation, and in his second year for him to have that imprint, he was so good. 97 tackles, 9 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, and 5 tackles for loss. If you're watching during our live show, what if I continue to say? The Niners like football players. They don't always put stock into these crazy athletes who don't have good instincts. Talanoa Hufanga, one of those players who has great instincts. We saw that last year. He really does play like Troy Polamalu, and I'm not saying that because of the Polynesian connection. NFC exec, backing up what I've always said, because he knows ball, like your boy knows ball. Instincts, he said. He gets the ball, doesn't run fast, but is smart, in the right position, in that defense. That goes a long way. ESPN with some numbers on Hufanga. He was one of 5 NFL safeties with at least 95 tackles, 4 or more interceptions last year. On 40 targets as the nearest defender, Hufanga averaged 235 yards and deflected 9 passes. Those numbers, very, very good, if you didn't already get the point. If you love Hufanga's game, if you like Hufanga's game, type Huff down below. Huff, 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 Huff. ESPN's top tight ends. You already know George Kittle's going to be on this list, right? Number 2, behind Travis Kelce. I actually thought that Kittle could have been a little bit lower on this list just because of the quarterback instability, some of the injuries that he's run into over the last few years. But when Brock Purdy took over for Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle's game really increased. Last 4 years for Kittle, it's not like the production has been crazy. You know, he got that deal a few years ago, and he was a more than 1,000-yard guy. He hasn't cracked the 1,000-yard mark in the last 3 years. Now, in 2020, injured. 2021, only missed 2 games, or 3 games, excuse me. And then in 2022, missed 2 more games. But again, when Purdy was on the field slinging it, Kittle was on the receiving end of a lot of big plays for this Niners offense. 60 catches, 765 yards, 11 touchdowns. A reason why he's not always too involved in the passing game is because one of his strengths is to be a blocker. But as a pass catcher, he can still get the job done. NFL personnel man on Kittle to ESPN. So much inconsistency with the quarterback and durability issues that have held him back a bit, but he's still top-notch. He's the most explosive athlete at the position, probably the best at creating separation and yards after the catch. Kittle's been an all-time Niner. Love his personality, love his leadership, love the grit, love the toughness, love the positive energy that he brings to the field. Young players can certainly look up to that. Now let's round out with the top offensive tackles here. Trent Williams, this is left tackles and right tackles, still getting that profound respect across the National Football League. Voted as the #1 offensive tackle in the game on a list that includes some really, really good players. Laramie Tunsil got that big deal this offseason. Tristan Wirfs, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Penei Sewell, Andrew Thomas, Rashawn Slater, Christian Darrisaw, as well as Colton Miller. ESPN on Trent here. Good numbers, too. Williams has been a revelation for San Francisco, earning back-to-back first-team All-Pro nods as an ideal fit for Kyle Shanahan's scheme, along with the team-high 92.4 pass block win rate. That means that 92% of the time, when an edge rusher is matching up against Trent Williams, he's putting him into the ground. Only 6 left tackles since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970 have earned multiple first-team All-Pros after age 30. Walter Jones, Anthony Munoz, Andrew Whitworth, Joe Thomas, Willie Roaf and Williams, some of those players in the Hall of Fame, by the way. NFL exec and NFC exec on Trent Williams. He's an incredibly gifted player. He has lapses and relies on that talent too much at times. There is some wavering with the physicality with him, but when he turns it on, he's nearly impossible to stop. And I think that sometimes that's the issue that some people have with Trent Williams. There was that story from, I believe, Jesse, a Niners content creator last year, in which he was tipping plays with his stance, left foot further back as compared to what it is on a running play. And yeah, sometimes when you watch him, he does rely on that natural ability. As he gets a little bit older, I think that he's going to have to rely on the technique and the smarts a little bit more, but there's no question he's still playing at an extremely high level. So there you go. 8 players inside the top 10 at all of these positions. The 49ers have the blank best roster in the NFL. I've been doing a lot of prep here on the show, as you could probably tell with all of the information that I've been passing along this week, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm reading Warren Sharp's Sharp Football Analysis preseason preview. He has the Eagles and the Niners as the 2 most talented rosters in the NFL. I think they're top 5 as far as overall talent goes, no doubt about it. Depth a little bit of a concern, so with that, let me know where you think the Niners stand. All right, who's in the chat? John Wallace is back. Joshua Updike, Harold, Knight Rider. Harold again. Joshua with a good comment here. Kittle will belittle your defense. I like that right there. Here's our Super Chat menu. We have 1 Super Chat that's come in today, and it was a big one from our guy, Gump Wolf. It was a $50 Super Chat. That's why I had to do that beer bong a little bit earlier to start off the show. $5, Niner mug cheers. $10, we'll spin the wheel. $20, we'll take a shot. $50 for a beer bong, $100 shotgun or a freedom funnel. Let me just tell y'all that with training camp starting officially a week from today, these live shows are about to get crazy and a lot of fun. So make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, because when we go live, when we push out a video, you will be notified. Also, another shout out, Night Shift Garage recently sent us a $100 super thanks because he appreciates what we do. Well, we appreciate all of you who continue to support the program. If you want to get on the show, now is your opportunity to get your questions, your comments, and your hot takes featured right here on the 49ers Report. Couple of ways for you to get involved. Use the hashtag 49ers, better yet, Super Chat, to ask me a question, because we're going to talk about these Aaron Donald trade rumors, and then we're going to run through your questions as well. John Wallace, what up, brother Chase? John Wallace, salute my guy. He said, Trizzy, you back there? Trizzy is actually on vacation in Mexico. So producer Jack is here, and he's wearing his Niners hat. Can you show the people? Can you show the people that Niner hat? Oh, is there no webcam on this one? Big Hurt, $20 Super Chat. There it is. Very nice. Let's go. $20 coming in from Big Hurt. That's going to be a shot. And I forgot to get a shot glass. Jack, you actually want to hop on here and give people shout-outs? I can go get that. Jack's going to hop up here. Everybody type Jack, 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 Jack. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get that shot. Everybody type Jack in the chat. Look at him with his Niner hat on.
Wow, I am way shorter than Chase. What's up, everybody? How we doing? Let's go Niners. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. What's up, Steve? There's my mom. Hey, Mom. Ernesto, using hashtag 49ers. Use hashtag 49ers because we are going to take your questions, but you got to have hashtag 49ers in your question so that we can pull them up on screen. Let's see what we got here. Laura saying Jack. 49er Jeff. Wet Noodle, what's up? Greg, what's up? John, what's up, man? Thank you. One of the first hats I got when I started working at Chat Sports over two years and a few months now was a 49ers hat because of the 49ers report. How are we looking here? Jake Moody, Rookie of the Year. Jake Moody, man, go blue. Let's go Michigan. That's my guy right there. Harold with a super chat. We'll get to that in a second. Thank you so much. Saying the 49ers are the team of excellence. Let's go 49ers. San Francisco. I did a few watch parties. Didn't do any last year because you guys had Trizzy Trace here. But the year before, I did quite a few 49ers watch parties. I don't know if you guys remember that. Purdy for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. He is from Arizona, my home state. That would be pretty cool. Joshua, do hashtag 49ers in a comment. So not just the hashtag, but like hashtag and then hashtag 49ers. Like you would be doing like a tweet. Hashtag 49ers. Put that in your comment. We'll be able to put it up on screen. I like that one. So 49er Jeff, same thing. You did hashtag let's go 49ers. Do just hashtag 49ers like Harold just did in the chat.
Oh, we had a 5 come in. Chris Lauderay. Your mom's watching? Love to see it. Energy. Jack, 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 Jack. Let's go. Good to hear from Chris again. What'd you say? So we're up to $75 in donations. Can we get to 100? We still have one segment left to get to. One segment still left to get to. So let's get it. Harold typing Jack. Harold super chat. 49ers are the team of excellence. Let's go 49ers. As evidenced by the rankings that we just discussed. Cheers, Harold. And for our super thanks that came in after this upcoming segment, that's when I'll do the shotgun here. All right, some good stuff coming in using the hashtag 49ers. Greg Smith, good to hear from you. John Wallace, we're 20 away from 100. Gotta go, y'all. I'll see the Niners faithful soon. God bless Chase, Jack, and the Niners family. We appreciate you, brother. Yes, Big Hurt, I got you. That's what I went to get. Batman with the 5. Let's go. Cheers, Big Hurt. Is that after Frank Thomas, by the way? Batman 29, hot take. Niners might have a worse record this year if Brock isn't the same as before and Trey doesn't improve if Sam is Sam. Yeah, so look, it's going to be hard to go 13-4 again. I mean, they ended the season on a 12-game winning streak, including the regular season and in the playoffs. To duplicate that type of success, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge, right? So the quarterback play is obviously going to have to, at the very least, be very, very solid. Had to turn on that fan here to my left. And can they stay healthy, finally? I had tweeted this out, too, earlier on my Twitter page, @Chase_Senior. If the Niners can stay healthy, look out. Now, under Kyle Shanahan, this has been a concerning trend. The injury rate among all 32 teams, 2017, 10th most, 2018, 4th, 2019, 6th, 2020, number 1 most injured team, 2021 third, and 2022 ninth. So, look, in 3 of the last 4 years, you still made it to an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl in 3 of those 4 years, right? And in 2020, that was the outlier when the Niners were just dreadful. But if they can finally stay healthy, this is a team that can do some damage here. What else we got? Big Hurt, cheers, brother. Hurt is my last name. I got you, fam. 49ers win 14 games coming in from 49er Jeff. Yeah, could be. We're up to $85 in Super Chats. Can we get to 100 by the end of the show? 1 segment left. Let's talk about Aaron Donald. This has direct implications on the San Francisco 49ers here, so let's get into the latest. Coming your way on today's San Francisco 49ers Report, a lingering story in the lead up to training camp that has direct implications for the NFC West, and it, of course, impacts the San Francisco 49ers for 2023. Are the Los Angeles Rams really going to trade Aaron Donald? This is something that's out there in the trade universe. We're going to take a look at this. But first, all too early predictions for who wins this division in 2023. Is it going to be the Niners? Type SF. Is it going to be the Rams? Type LAR. Is it going to be the Cardinals? ARI, or the Seattle Seahawks, who I think pose the biggest test in this division to the Niners? Type SEA. So the latest on Aaron Donald. Let's set the foundation here. Michael Lombardi, former general manager, front office executive, started the Aaron Donald trade rumors while appearing on the Pat McAfee show. He's a very smart football mind, has tapped into some organizations, but also at moments, Michael Lombardi, some of his reports haven't necessarily hit the bullseye. Jason McIntyre, who is Colin Cowherd's co-host on The Herd, made a bold prediction for this year and said Aaron Donald will get traded. It wasn't a report, it was a bold prediction. And Donald, this is a significant story because, yes, he's probably on the back 9 of his career. The age just backs that up, but he's arguably the best defensive tackle ever. As for what Michael Lombardi said about this, say the Rams start off slow and they're headed toward Caleb Williams in the draft. Do they trade Aaron Donald to a team at the trade deadline? Because he's truly their only asset. Now, also of note here, and obviously Donald getting traded would be ideal for the 49ers to avoid playing him because he is certainly a disruptor at defensive tackle. But also of note here, the Los Angeles Rams approached Matthew Stafford about redoing his contract. He refused. They're not happy with him, according to Colin Cowherd, who does have some sources inside that Rams organization. So could they trade away Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald? And could they be on this trajectory of losing to try to get Caleb Williams? If that's the case, could be very, very interesting. So this is going to be our pinned comment here. Yes, the Rams are a rival, but great respect's great, and Aaron Donald is a great player. Do you respect Aaron Donald's game and what he's been able to accomplish in his NFL career? R for respect, N for no. Sound off in the comment section. You look at what he's done over his last 4 years, he has been an outright dominant player, a force. And oftentimes, when you're playing defensive tackle, you don't accumulate a lot of sack numbers. That has not been the problem with him. He has the power move to slip by interior offensive linemen. He has speed to get by him. He has that strong upper body and really strong hands to throw offensive linemen to either side of him to open up an avenue in which he can get to the quarterback. And his sack numbers have been crazy. 12.5, 13.5, 12.5 from 2019 through 2021. And last year, the Rams were bad. He was shut down. Still tallied 5 sacks in 11 games, though. And forced fumbles, quarterback hits. A guy who can really take over the game. And when the Rams won the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, what happened late in that game? That Cincinnati Bengals offensive line was overpowered, overwhelmed, partially due to the dominance and physicality of Aaron Donald. The contract for him, as you look ahead, it's an expensive one because at the time, he signed the richest contract in the history of the NFL by a defensive player. And that still holds. It's going to hold until Nick Bosa gets his contract extension, which will beat him out with total money, guaranteed money, average annual value, in my opinion. The Rams, cap savings, if they deal him, $13.5 million. Receiving team cap hit, $13.5 million. Their 2024 cap savings, if they were to trade Donald, 5.6. The receiving 2024 team, the cap hit for that team, $21.5 million next year. So that's a lot of money. And then the dead cap space in 2025 would be $13.32 million. So obviously that information very important for a team that decides to potentially trade for Donald's services. Look, if any move like this happens that directly impacts the Niners, we're going to talk about it. Whenever the 49ers make a move, we're going to talk about it. We're about to ramp up our coverage here with training camp set to begin in just a few days on July 25th, and I can't wait to be going live multiple times per week, giving you all of the latest from the Niners. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Batman29, as we start taking your questions here at the $5 Super Chat. Hot take. Niners might have a worse record this year if Brock isn't the same as before, Trey doesn't improve, and Sam is Sam. Look, if you don't get consistent play at the quarterback position, oftentimes you really do struggle. And also, I'll say this. The Niners ended the season with the 10-game winning streak in the regular season and then a 12-game winning streak prior to the NFC Championship game. So to go 13-4 after starting, 3-4, that was a really impressive feat, and it's very difficult to do, to duplicate that success year in, year out, given the physicality of the NFL, injury attrition, lack of consistency in a league that changes dramatically, seemingly, every single year. So, yeah, if you don't get quarterback play that's solid, the Niners will have a drop-off, and either way, even if Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold does play good football, it's going to be difficult to win 13 games. Lyle, one of our real ones here on the show, a $20 Super Chat. Hey, Chase, can't wait for some Niners football. Quest for 6. Let's go Niners faithful. I'll tell you this. If the Niners get that 6th Super Bowl, we might be live all night on the 49ers Report. I'm not even kidding, because don't you want to party? If the Niners are on that quest for 6 and they get it, Lore, which rookie will impress you the most in training camp? Lore with a good question here, and I saw this come in even before we started our live show. As we go live every single Tuesday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. When the regular season comes around, we might go live Mondays and Thursdays because the success has been so great here on the show. Which rookie will impress you? I'm going to go with Jair Brown. He's my number 1 ranked rookie heading into camp. I think that he's going to be able to earn playing time very, very early. And I think him and Darrell Luter Jr., 2 rookies who could see significant workloads in their first seasons. Harold, next up here on the show. Chase, blessings to everyone. Are you ready for Niners football? Are you kidding me? Cheers to some Niners football. San Francisco, let's go. If you're pumped up for the return of Niners football, I need you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. When the preseason is here, you already know we're going to be doing some watch parties, and then for the regular season, we'll be live every single game. Ernesto, if Robbie Gould does come back to the Niners, if he doesn't go with another team, do you see him starting or backing up Moody? So here's the deal. You don't have 2 kickers on the 53. You only have 1. You don't occupy 2 roster spots for a kicker because other roster spots and other positions are way more important. If Jake Moody doesn't make this team, that is an absolute disaster because the Niners selected him in the 3rd round of the draft. And if your 3rd round kicker, which is a bold choice to take a kicker that early, and they said profoundly, he was by far our number 1 kicker in this draft. If he doesn't crack this team, that is a massive, massive issue. Joshua Updike, Purdy for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. That would be a hell of a season. I think that the Niners are going to run a little bit too much for him to have 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Let's say 3,200 yards and 23 touchdowns to like 7 picks. Because also factor in how often they're going to run the rock. Adam J., I'm concerned for week 1, TJ Watt versus a weak right tackle. TJ Watt against Colton McKivitz, it's not a battle that certainly favors San Francisco. Colton McKivitz, though, he's going to find out, and we're going to find out, what type of player he is prior to week 1. Why is that, Chase? Joint practices against the Las Vegas Raiders. Colton Colton McKivitz is going to be going up against one of the best edge rushers in the game in Max Crosby. So if Colton McKivitz doesn't hold up in protection against Crosby, look out for TJ Watt and the Steelers to load that left side of the defensive line, the right side of the offensive line come week 1 to try to generate a great pass rush. 49er Jeff, what's good, Brody? I love the profile picture here. Repping the squad with the 4-9 jersey, some bling-bling. Let's go. Who leads the Niners in passing yards? Look, if Brock Purdy is healthy, I think that Brock Purdy is going to be the team starter, and I think he's going to handle the workload, and I think that he's going to lead the team in passing yards. I think that Trey Lance can be a good player. I think that Trey Lance has a lot of potential, but when Purdy plays the way that he did as a rookie, he has the inside track at this job, and if he's healthy, the Niners are going to give him ample opportunities. Lore, which rookie is going to be a bust? It's way too early to say, and I don't really want to say which rookie's going to bust before they even hit the field yet. If Jake Moody doesn't make the team, he'll go down as a massive, massive bust. That I do know. Greg Smith, hey Chase, the people's tight end, running back, Christian McCaffrey. Let's go 49ers. So you're saying George Kittle, the people's tight end? He really is. And Christian McCaffrey, he's a really popular player around this league. When he was on Super Bowl Radio Row and we interviewed him, he always had a large following. Everybody was turning heads. What he did at Stanford, obviously, was a terrific college career. What he's done at the NFL level when healthy, he's been tremendous. I mean, a 2-time All-Pro, 1-time first team, another time second team. And last year, after that trade to San Francisco, he changed the entire complexion of the offense. That is the rare instance in which investing in a running back actually worked. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, they didn't come to agreements on those long-term deals, and everybody is complaining about the running back market and how the position has been devalued. It has been devalued for sure, but not when you can catch the ball out of the slot, out of the backfield, run it, and be an overall weapon, not just single-handedly a running back within an offense. 49ers training camp set to get underway July 25th, just a few days from now. Rookies already reported in addition to quarterbacks July 18th. Cannot wait for it, and that's why you subscribe to the show, because we're going to be ramping up our coverage. If you want to become a smarter Niners fan, join the faithful family here at Chat Sports. All right, our segment's in the can. Lyle with the $20 donation. That's another shot. Cheers, mates. And for Night Shift Garage, who recently sent us in a $100 super thanks, we're going to live up to the super chat menu here and shotgun a beer for Night Shift. We could do our 49ers Report happy hour if you want to donate to the show. If not, we'll sign off, call it a day, and call it another successful 49ers Report. It'll be 2 minutes when I cue it up there, Jack. So, Night Shift Garage, thank you for supporting the program for that $100 super chat. On today's show, more than $100 in super chats. Y'all are the best. I continue to be humbled by all of this. Just hit the delete button. These are really, really good, by the way. I don't love Happy Dads, but this Grape Death Row Records partnership, not a sponsor, very, very good. All right. 2-minute super chat shot clock. How long do y'all want us to stay live? It's up to you. If you want us to stay live, send in a super chat within these 2 minutes. Every super chat that we get, we reset the clock. Like right now. Big Hurt with another 5. After rewatching the games and highlights, I am convinced that we need to roll with Purdy, but it would be foolish to let Trey go too soon. I would keep Trey on this roster. I know that he has a cap hit the next 2 years around $9-10 million. If he's quarterback 3, that's a lot of money to pay for a quarterback 3. It's a lot of money to pay for a quarterback 2, but this is an organization that has had so many injuries at that quarterback position. So you have to imagine that a quarterback injury is going to happen at some point given the history of this team. And if Purdy were to go down, you don't want to run into a situation in which, you have to roll with Josh Johnson. So if you have Trey Lance on this squad, that's a great backup option. And I still believe that Trey Lance could be a very good player in this league. Big Hurt, he extended our Super Chat shot clock. So we reset it to 2 minutes, and now it's approaching 1 minute. If you want to send in another Super Chat, we stay live. We chop it up with the homies. As you can see, this is our Super Chat menu right here. I also posed earlier, if you want me to do a Super Chat menu gauntlet, I will do all of this in a row at one time if we get a $200 Super Chat. That's what I'll do for the Super Chat gauntlet. All of those Super Chat menu items for a $200 Super Chat. That's what we'll do. Another sip from the mug. Yes, sir, Big Hurt. All right, 30 seconds left on the clock. Can we stay live? Baby Cakes 420 back in the house. AFX Apocalypse is here. Joshua, we're going for 6 and then 7 before we lose this roster. Yeah, this roster. You got to maximize on this championship window right now. 10 seconds left. Can we stay live? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll give you about a 20-second delay for those of you watching on delay here. If not, we're going to sign off, call it a day, and going to have to actually do some work here at Chat Sports instead of just hanging out with everybody here. Dave Towers, see y'all from Australia. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. $110 in donations today. A week from today, training camp underway. Stay tuned for the live show. You already know it's going to be awesome. All right, our Lyle keeping us live right before the buzzer. Lyle with the 20. Don't sleep on Sam Darnold. You have to remember he played for 2 trash teams in the Jets as well as the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, look, here's my thing. I feel like I've said that a lot today. Yeah, look, if I did, I apologize. I try to be as polished as possible on air. Here's the thing. So with Sam Darnold, even at USC, Clay Helton was in over his skis. Dysfunctional program with not the proper coaching when he was there at USC. And so he wasn't surrounded and didn't have a stable foundation beneath him. That'll directly impact you as a football player, no doubt about it. And then with the Jets, turmoil, controversy, inconsistency. I think he's had 5, 6 different offensive coordinators, multiple different coaches. Those coaches, those offensive minds, they are not up to par with Kyle Shanahan. And they're not the offensive minds that Kyle Shanahan does possess in between those magical ears. So can Kyle Shanahan bring the best out of Sam Darnold like he's done for so many quarterbacks for this organization, but others? Kirk Cousins, Robert Griffin III, Matt Ryan, C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. I think that he can bring the best out of Sam Darnold. You know what it's going to do, too? It's going to make these preseason games pretty fun. We get to see a lot of Sam Darnold and a lot of Trey Lance when usually some scrub is playing in the 3rd or 4th quarter. 20 seconds left before we hit that delay. If you want us to stay live, send in another super. Can we get to 150? We're at 130 right now. If we get to 200, I'll shotgun another beer. 5 seconds left. 5 seconds left. And now we'll go to our delay. Baby Cakes 420, blaze up, Chase. Can't do that here on YouTube. I don't want the channel. Can't do it in Texas. I don't want the channel to get deleted. That would not be good. That would not be good. Can we stay live? It's coming down to the wire. Is Lyle going to do it again? I think he was watching on delay, so he might. He might keep it live. A great show today. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. We ranked every single rookie who's going to be participating in training camp before some of them inevitably do get let go. We talked about ESPN's rankings of the top players at every single position, in which San Francisco had 8 players inside that top 10. And then we took a look at some rumors on Aaron Donald. is he going to get dealt? Because obviously that impacts the NFC West race, and it impacts the San Francisco 49ers as well. Thanks to everybody who tuned into the show. It was an absolute blast as always. We will be live next week, same time, same place, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Stay tuned for a programming announcement for when the season happens, because maybe we want to capitalize on the after-the-game hype on a day like Monday. But for right now, we'll roll with Tuesdays, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. I appreciate all of your support. As always, we're not worthy, but you make our jobs and our lives an absolute blast. And we'll catch you next time here on the show.